Could you possibly, Father, just briefly explain what is Tenebrae and what's the significance of it?
Well, Tenebrae is the night office. The name Tenebrae, the word in Latin, means literally darknesses, okay? But it's a word that refers to the nighttime. It can also refer to a spiritual darkness, too. In this case, it refers to the night office of matins and lauds, which are prayed over the night leading to Holy Thursday, the night leading to Good Friday, and the night leading to Holy Saturday. So the night previous. And we begin the Tenebrae office basically at more or less sundown each of those days. For example, on Wednesday night at about sundown, we'll be praying the matins and lauds for Thursday. What would happen in the former times, in a monastery, for example, they would take the matins. It would be divided into 3 sections according to the division of the night, according to the watches of the night. In the old days, going back to ancient times, the night watchman guarding the village as it slept throughout the night. They'd have 3 shifts, in some cases 4 shifts. But matins traditionally consists of 4 sections, or nocturnes as they call them. The office consists of an introduction, of course, also the call to prayer for us to come and to adore God, and then a hymn to God. And then after that, we have 3, each nocturne has 3 psalms, and then 3 lessons, okay, taken from the Old Testament, the New Testament, commentaries from the fathers of the church, and so on. So it's all very scriptural. In fact, the entire office is scriptural, even when you're not reading from the sacred scriptures themselves, from the Psalms, or the New Testament, the Old Testament, sapiential books, and so on. You're reading commentaries of the fathers of the church on the Gospels. In the monastery, they would pray 1 nocturne at a time. They'd pray a nocturne and then retire, sleep for a few hours, get up, pray the 2nd nocturne for the 2nd watch, retire and come back to the church for the 3rd nocturne. Then lauds would be prayed basically at sunrise. Laudes means praises, and we sing the praises of God. So you have matins. It comes from the Latin word matutina for morning. So it's the office that goes through the night and to the morning, and then lauds. When the sun has risen, you sing the praises of God. The night office is rather lengthy at this time. Matins, which would begin at sundown before, let's say, Holy Thursday, would take about 2.5 hours, perhaps, sung properly in its entirety at one time. And there are responsories that are sung beautifully by our choir. They never cease to amaze me. Every time we sing matins here, every time we sing the Tenebrae office, and the choir sings the responsories, they're very stirring, very beautiful. Whether they're singing the Gregorian chant out of the Liber or the Faux-Bourdon, which are very, very powerful. The beauty of it is just, I'm amazed at how beautifully they execute those. So in any case, the Tenebrae office for Good Friday, which begins as again about sundown the day before, right, would take about 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. And the 3rd of the Tenebrae offices before Holy Saturday would take about 1 hour and 45 minutes or so. And each one of these offices of Tenebrae reflects the character of the day that it officially begins, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday. Each of these 3 days of the Triduum has a very definite character, marked by what our Lord himself does. And so each one of these offices actually follows our Lord, as it were. They're not only beautiful in terms of the text of the prayer, but they're beautiful in the action too. The church may be well lit at first for the singing, and then gradually becomes dimmer and dimmer. And finally, when you come to the end of Lauds, you are actually turning out the lights until finally all the lights are extinguished in the church and you're in darkness. And you're kneeling there before the tabernacle. And the choir begins the Miserere, Psalm 50. And that is sung in darkness. And here we sing Mozart's beautiful Miserere, which is just glorious, right? So anyway, it's very stirring, And then at the end of the Miserere, You have the one candle that is not extinguished in the church, symbolizing our Lord, is put again in some kind of contained area box so the light cannot escape, as though our Lord's light was banished, as it were, or somehow concealed from the world, you know. The signal is given, and there's the thunder. The thunder, you know, signifies the darkness and the thunder, that the storm that struck when our Lord died on the cross, you know. That's always a very, very, what should I say, stirring moment when you have in the darkened church the thunder as they're banging on the pews or with their books. You got to control the young men because they're really into the thunder, unfortunately. So you don't have it go on too long, maybe, you know, 10, 15 seconds, but the point is made. And it represents also the grief in the human soul at the death of Christ. And when the light reappears, taken out of its container, it is placed back on the corner of the altar. The thunder stops. And then in silence, the server who's holding that one candle representing Christ puts it back on what is called the hearse, actually, which is the lampstand which holds 15 candles. The uppermost center candle is that of our Lord. He places it back in place. He can extinguish it at that point or leave it burning. We actually extinguish it here. And then all of the servers and the celebrant come before the altar, make our reverence, and we leave in silence. You know? So if one has not had the grace of attending a Tenebrae office done correctly, done properly, I'd heartily recommend that they do so. We may be among the very few parishes that do the entire Tenebrae office here, because it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time, but it also takes a certain amount of talent. And we're blessed to have that with our choirs and our servers here.